Most people grow up with an idea etched into their minds that aging is a slow surrender. That with every passing year, your strength shrinks, your muscles fade, and your body no longer listens to your will. You hear phrases like, "That's just what happens when you get older," or "It's normal to get weaker." And over time, these words don't just become beliefs, they become chains. Invisible chains that quietly wrap around the mind, convincing millions that decline is their destiny. But here's the shocking truth: decline is not destiny. Weakness is not guaranteed. Fragility is not inevitable. These are not laws of biology carved in stone. They are stories repeated so many times that people mistake them for truth. And when you accept that story, you stop fighting for your strength, you stop fueling your body correctly, and you surrender to the very decline you feared. Think about this. A man in his 30s lifts weights and gains muscle. A woman in her 40s changes her diet and her energy soars. These changes are visible, powerful, and real. But once someone passes 60, 70, 80, society tells them it's too late. Don't bother. You're old. Be careful. Yet the human body doesn't operate on social beliefs. The body is still listening, still responding, still capable of building, repairing, and growing. If only you give it the right message. That's the key, the message. Your muscles don't care about your birth certificate, and they respond to signals. Nutrition is a signal. Movement is a signal. Rest is a signal. Your body isn't turning off with age. It's simply waiting for the right instructions. Science proves this. There are people in their 80s and 90s who start resistance training and gain strength, real measurable strength in weeks. Not months, not years, weeks. Their muscles thicken, their balance improves, their vitality returns. And yet, most never attempt this transfer because their minds have been trained to believe it's impossible. So let me ask you, how many lives are lost not because the body gave up, but because the mind surrendered first? How many people stop living fully decades before they truly need to because they accepted a false story? The real tragedy of aging is not in the muscles. It's in the mindset. When you believe weakness is inevitable, you stop trying. And when you stop trying, the prophecy fulfills itself. That's not biology, that's psychology. That's philosophy disguised as science. And if you can break that story, if you can replace it with truth, the entire trajectory of your life changes. Now, let's bring this closer to you. Imagine you are 70 years old. You've been told you should slow down, take it easy, avoid risks. You sit more, you move less, you eat the same foods you did 30 years ago, but your body processes them differently now. And every year, you feel weaker. But then, imagine discovering that even at 70, 80, 90 years old, your muscles are still capable of growth. Not just maintenance, growth. Imagine knowing that one change in your diet, one shift in your protein intake could reignite the very process you thought was lost forever. This is where psychology meets biology. The moment you believe in the possibility of strength, your actions begin to align with that belief. You eat differently. You move differently. You live differently. And your body, waiting patiently, responds. The story you accept is the story you live. If you accept decline, you will decline. If you accept possibility, you will grow. This is why the discovery of a protein that can outperform eggs in building muscle in the elderly is not just science. It's revolution. It tears down the old narrative that aging is weakness. It replaces it with a new one that aging is potential. That your body is not finished with you. That you are not done building. So when you hear people say, "That's just aging, that's just life," understand what they're really saying. I gave up. But you don't have to. You can choose differently. The question is not, can you build muscle at 90? The question is, will you believe you can? Because if you believe it and you act on it, the body will respond. It always has. It always will. And that's the truth most people never hear. So reflect on this tonight. Your age is not your enemy. Your weakness is not permanent. Your body has not abandoned you. It's waiting for you to stop surrendering, waiting for you to send the right signals, waiting for you to fuel it with the right protein, the right mindset, the right belief. And when you do, you will discover something powerful. You are stronger than you think, younger than you believe, and more capable than you've ever been told. Because decline is not destiny, growth is. For decades, we were told that eggs were the gold standard of protein. If you wanted to build strength, if you wanted muscle, if you wanted recovery, the answer was always simple: eat eggs. They were marketed as nature's perfect food, packed with amino acids, accessible, versatile. Doctors, trainers, athletes, they all repeated the same message: nothing beats eggs. And for a time, that belief went unchallenged. But science has a way of humbling our certainties. What we think we know often collapses under the weight of new evidence. And the truth that is now emerging shakes the very foundation of nutritional science. Eggs may not be the undisputed king after all. In fact, there is evidence that another protein can outperform them, especially in the very people who need it most: older adults. This is where the story turns, because the assumption was always that once you passed a certain age, your ability to respond to protein was limited, that even if you ate eggs or chicken or steak, your muscles simply wouldn't respond the way they used to. And that assumption became another chain, another invisible cage of belief. But here's the shocking reality: the limitation is not your age. It's the quality of the signal you send your body. Eggs, while excellent, do not always deliver the strongest signal for muscle growth in aging muscle. Their amino acid profile is strong, yes, but science shows us something fascinating. Certain proteins, particularly plant-based isolates like soy, can actually send a clearer, more effective signal to aging muscles, triggering growth at a higher rate than eggs. That's not just nutrition, it's communication. It's sending the body a louder, more urgent message: build. Think about the psychological weight of this. For years, people believed animal proteins were superior, that plant proteins were second class, incomplete, weaker. That belief was repeated so often it hardened into dogma. Yet what happens when the evidence flips the story? What happens when the so-called weaker protein rises up and proves itself stronger, not in theory, but in action, in clinical trials, in living human bodies? This isn't just about nutrition. This is about human identity, because food is never just food. It is culture, tradition, memory. For someone who has eaten eggs their whole life, who has been told they are essential, to hear that a humble plant protein could surpass them, it feels almost like betrayal. And yet, in that discomfort lies liberation, because it means that you are not bound to tradition, not bound to what your grandparents ate, not bound to what yesterday's science believed. You are free to evolve with the evidence. And isn't that the essence of growth? To learn to adapt, to rise above old limits when new truths appear. To say, I was wrong, but now I am stronger because I know better. That is not weakness, that is wisdom. Let's look deeper. Why would soy protein, long dismissed, show such power in muscle building for older adults? The answer lies in its bioactive compounds, in its unique ability to not only provide amino acids, but also improve vascular health, reduce inflammation, and enhance recovery. This means that it doesn't just feed the muscle, it prepares the body to use that fuel more effectively. It's like not only giving a car better gas, but also cleaning the engine at the same time. Eggs may provide fuel, but this protein provides both fuel and function. And that is why it matters. Because aging is not just about what you consume, it's about how well your body can use it. And if a protein source can help your body do more with less, then it is not just better, it is revolutionary. Now imagine what this means for you. Imagine being told your whole life that decline is your future, and suddenly discovering that not only can you build muscle at 90, but you can do it with a protein most people overlook. Imagine the empowerment of knowing that your choices are stronger than your years, that your body is not finished. It is waiting for you to give it the right instructions. This is the moment where belief and biology collide. Because if you cling to the old belief that eggs are the only answer, you may limit yourself. But if you embrace the truth that science evolves, that better options exist, that new discoveries rewrite the rules, then you open a door that leads to strength, vitality, and independence long past the years you thought possible. And that is the deeper message here. The story of eggs versus soy is not just about protein. It is about your willingness to question what you've been told, to challenge tradition, to embrace change. Those who resist change decline faster, not because their bodies fail, because their minds refuse to adapt. Those who embrace change unlock new life. So when I tell you there is a protein that can build muscle even at 90, better than eggs, understand that I am not just talking about nutrition. I am talking about freedom, the freedom to redefine aging, the freedom to rise above limits, the freedom to live stronger, longer, bolder. And that freedom begins with one choice. Will you cling to the old story, or will you step into the new truth? Because in the end, eggs may have been the gold standard of yesterday, but today there is a new crown, and it belongs to the protein that proves your body is still capable of greatness. When we look at the story of protein, most people expect the answer to come from something familiar, something we have seen on our plates for generations. A piece of meat, a carton of milk, a handful of eggs. We are conditioned to believe that strength is animal-based, that the essence of power is drawn from flesh and bone. And so, when I say there exists a protein that can outperform eggs, most minds immediately search through the catalog of animal foods. Is it beef? Is it fish? Is it dairy? But the truth is stranger and more humbling, because the answer does not come from what we traditionally call strength. It comes from a source many dismissed, many underestimated, many even ridiculed. It comes from a simple bean, soy. At first glance, it seems too ordinary to be extraordinary. It lacks the glamour of steak, the tradition of eggs, the popularity of chicken. For decades, it sat in the background of nutritional science, overlooked, sometimes criticized, often treated as inferior. People joked about it, misunderstood it, and in many cases avoided it altogether. And yet, it is precisely in that overlooked place that one of the most powerful secrets of aging and strength has been hiding. Soy protein isolate, the concentrated form of protein derived from soybeans, has proven itself to be a powerhouse. Not in theory, not in empty marketing slogans, but in clinical studies, in measurable results, in living, breathing human bodies. When researchers compared its effects to those of eggs, especially in older adults whose muscles are harder to stimulate, soy protein isolate consistently performed better. It didn't just match the effect of eggs. It surpassed it. Now, think about the weight of this revelation. A protein from a humble plant, long underestimated, outshining one of the most celebrated foods in history. This is not just nutrition, it's a metaphor for life. It is a reminder that strength does not always come from where we expect it. That greatness often hides in the overlooked, the underestimated, the quiet. And when we discover it, we are forced to question not only our diets, but our assumptions, our traditions, even the stories we tell ourselves about what is possible. From a biological standpoint, soy protein isolate is uniquely powerful because it speaks clearly to aging muscle. It delivers the amino acids required for growth in a form that the body can absorb efficiently. But it goes beyond that. Soy contains compounds that support circulation, protect blood vessels, and reduce inflammation. That means it doesn't just build muscle. It creates an environment where muscle can thrive, where recovery is faster, where energy is sustained. It addresses not just strength, but vitality. This matters more than most realize. Because when you are older, building muscle isn't about vanity. It isn't about looking good in the mirror. It is about independence. It is about walking without fear of falling. It is about standing tall when others are bent over. It is about living life on your own terms without relying on others to do for you what you could once do for yourself. And the fact that a plant protein can offer this gift, can outperform the so-called gold standard, should be nothing less than revolutionary. But here is where psychology meets biology again, because the barrier is not only access to soy protein, the barrier is belief. People resist the idea because it challenges tradition, it challenges culture, it challenges what they have been told for decades. And so they hold on to eggs, onto meat, onto the familiar, even if science has already moved on. This resistance is not about nutrition, it is about identity. but identity can evolve just as science does. And that is the choice each of us faces. Will you cling to the comfort of the old story, or will you embrace the uncomfortable truth of the new one? Because in that discomfort lies growth. In that willingness to change lies freedom. Freedom from decline, freedom from weakness, freedom from the false belief that aging is surrender. Soy protein isolate is not just a nutrient, it is a symbol. A symbol that strength can come from unexpected places, that potential can exist where we least expect it, that age is not a wall but a doorway if we choose to step through. So the next time you sit at a table, the next time you think about fueling your body, remember this: greatness doesn't always look like greatness. Sometimes it hides in simplicity. Sometimes it waits in silence. And sometimes it takes the form of a protein so ordinary, most of the world ignores it until the evidence can no longer be denied. The body is listening. It doesn't care about tradition. It doesn't care about culture. It cares about signals. And soy protein isolate sends one of the clearest signals you can give: build, repair, grow. Even at 70, even at 80, even at 90. So here is the truth you must carry with you: strength is not where you expect it. It is where you are willing to look. And when you choose to look deeper, beyond tradition, beyond habit, you may just find the key to rewriting your story of aging forever. Because sometimes the greatest discoveries are not new. They were there all along, waiting for you to notice. When you finally realize that decline is not destiny, when you finally accept that the story you've been told about aging is not the full truth, something remarkable happens. You begin to see that your body is not finished. It is waiting for you to give it the right message, waiting for you to stop feeding it the signals of surrender and start feeding it the signals of growth. Nutrition is not just food. It is information. Every bite, every sip, every nutrient is a message your body interprets. Some foods whisper weakness, others shout strength. And when you choose correctly, you are not just eating, you are programming. You are instructing your body to rise, to repair, to build. The protein we've spoken about is not simply a nutrient, it is a signal, a key. Think of it like turning on a switch that has been waiting in silence. For years, your muscles have been capable, but without the right signal, they remain dormant. The moment the signal arrives, the machinery of growth switches back on. That is why the discovery of a protein that can outperform eggs in the elderly is so critical. It does not just feed the body, it reawakens it. But here's where the transformation goes deeper, because the fuel you give your body does more than change your muscles. It changes your mind. When you begin to see strength return, when you notice energy rising, when you feel vitality where you once felt decline, a new belief takes root line. You are not finished. You are still capable. And that belief spills over into every corner of your life. It is not just about climbing stairs with ease. It is about climbing out of despair. It is not just about carrying groceries. It is about carrying hope. It is not just about walking taller. It is about living bolder. This is why fueling your body correctly matters. Because when your body feels strong, your spirit follows. And when your spirit feels strong, your life expands. But here lies the challenge. Many people never experience this transformation because they never take the first step. They cling to excuses. They tell themselves, I'm too old, it won't work for me, I've already declined. And in doing so, they close the door before even knocking. They surrender to a story that is not theirs to render. What if you refuse to surrender? What if you decided today that you will no longer accept weakness as your fate? What if you chose to give your body the signals it has been waiting for? Imagine the ripple effect of that single decision. Stronger muscles mean better balance, better mobility, fewer falls, less fear. That means more independence, more freedom, more life on your terms. That means your children and grandchildren see not fragility, but resilience. They see someone who does not give up. And that message, too, is a signal passed from one generation to the next. Strength is possible at any age. Philosophically, this is bigger than nutrition. It is about human potential. We are taught to think that the second half of life is a slow fading, but what if it is a second beginning? What if the years you thought were meant for decline are actually years meant for mastery? What if the body, when fueled correctly, still has decades of untapped strength and vitality? The real tragedy of aging is not weakness itself. It is the acceptance of weakness as inevitable. The real danger is not losing muscle, it is losing belief. And the true victory is not simply in adding years to life, but life to years. So here is the call to action. Stop waiting. Stop surrendering. Stop feeding your body the wrong signals. You cannot change the past, but you can change the message you send your body today. Fuel it with the right protein. Move with intention. Rest with purpose. Live with conviction. And watch as your body responds, not as an old machine breaking down, but as a living system, vibrant and capable, still ready to grow. Do not listen to the voices that say it is too late. Listen to the evidence. Listen to the stories of men and women who built strength in their 80s and 90s. Listen to the quiet truth your body has been whispering all along, I am not done. And so the final choice rests with you. Will you live by the old story of decline, or will you write a new story of strength? Because one choice leads to surrender, the other to transformation. And when you make that choice, when you decide to fuel your body with the right signal, you discover something extraordinary. Age is not a prison. It is a frontier. Your body is waiting. The signal is clear. The time is now.